I assume everyone has a handout at this point. Could I get an extra one for me as well? Just so I make sure I'm following the structure in a timely manner. By the way, just so you guys know, I did the best I could to try and get this down to one page. I'm a big believer in trying to keep it as simple as, as simple as humanly possible, especially for the newer people on our team. Now I know almost everyone here in this room is over 100,000 personal sales, multiple years over 300K, 500K, so on and so forth, running big teams, big successful teams, and that's great. Something that I learned a long time ago, because I did management for like 5 years before I joined the team about 5 years ago, was that something I always noticed that was kind of like a disconnect between our high-level CSPs that were on the team before I was on the team, was they were really good at teaching high-level sales and really good at developing like someone who's already at like 100K, 200K and try and get them to that next level. But I noticed a strong disconnect, and this is gonna sound kind of weird, and this isn't taken away from anything from how our team functioned in the past, but it always became like a running joke that every time we launched a training class, we'd have a big group, right? And that's something always Lone Star's been known for, is recruiting big classes. And we'd launch a whole bunch of bodies, and then by the time that it was post-malls, like in the first campaign, we retained one person. And I was that one person one year. The year before that it was Pressy. The year before that it was someone else. The year before that it was someone else. And it was always kind of the chain of like always the joke of the one person. And I always thought about that for a second, and just management side, I was thinking like, there's a serious disconnect here. There's no way that we should have this many people, like especially quality, like students who are eager and excited to develop into something really special later. How can we launch 20, 30 people and retain one? That's like asinine, that's crazy. I was like, it's because there was a breakdown, in my personal opinion, in those structures and the programs of developing these kids. Sometimes we forget what a 20K rep needs to hear, because we've sold 20K in pushes, like pretty much everyone here in this room, right? Something that's important for them is something that we forget about just in our years of selling Cutco. So what I did here, put it down to 2 pages. I try to keep it as short as humanly possible, because I'm a big believer that, especially for these type of people, it's gotta be as simple as possible, all right? And I want you guys to think about something that whenever you guys are working with these new guys, whether you guys are coordinators, assistants, running trainings, whatever, is that literally there's only 3 things that are important to a rep in their first, not campaign, their first year. Again, that's all my opinion. But in their first year is number 1, the number 1 most important thing for a rep when they're first joining the team is you gotta build their confidence extremely quick. Think about it. When you were back in your fast start, for you guys that were managers, not managers, one of the main things they always taught was that you wanna have good retention after the first weekend. Get them their first order their first day. Get them their first promotion their first weekend, right? And you're gonna have kids that do well, kids that did bad, like whatever it may be, but the highest probability of retainment is getting early, quick success. Because imagine being a new rep, going out to your first show. I don't know, you guys happen to me, but like my first couple shows, like first 3 or 4 events, I sold very little, like very, very little. And I mean, I was very excited. I was with Cutco for a while. I was excited about this whole like selling at the booth stuff and everything like that. So I was naturally gonna be retained, but most of our college students wouldn't be. You go to 4 shows and you sell less than $1,000 and you lost money, yeah, demos look a lot more appealing, and they also might be out of the business, okay? Something we have to remember. Number 2 thing that we're gonna talk about today is keeping it simple. And when I mean simple, like you're gonna see some stuff that I'm gonna talk about, you're gonna be like, really? Like you teach them this for that long? Like shouldn't we throw in this, teach them something new, should throw some flair in there, throw some excitement? Yeah, but not until they've sold like a certain amount. Like for you guys may or may not know, I'll get into this a little bit later in detail, we didn't teach our guys, like our new people, how to even sell a flatware chest at the booth until like our mall meeting at the end of November. And the reason why is because I only get like 3 cracks at these kids before the end of the campaign. And I want them to focus on what sells them the most CPO most often, which is selling sets to new customers, selling upgrades and 5-piece specials to past customers, handling B-bags. Oh my God, if there's one script I had to pick, it would be that one, is teaching you kids how to handle B-bags the right way early so they get like 50% more sales, right? And then handling upselling on the orders that they do get at their market days and gun shows. So keep it simple. Number 3 is guiding and directing. Man, that's something that gets lost too. We're all really good salespeople, and we're really good at running our businesses and keeping structure and planning and all that good stuff. College kids don't know how to do that. They go by a day-by-day basis. So the way you got to see it this way, is you have to treat every single new guy on your team, they're a second grader. Seriously. They are in second grade. And I tell the training classes that I ran so far for our division, I tell them that, like, after like building them up a little bit and stuff, I'm like, the bottom line is, guys, bring them right back down to earth. I'm gonna treat you guys like you guys are in second grade because you've sold 20, 50, 100 grand on demos, and that's awesome, but all of you guys as of this moment are at $0 in booth sales. This is a completely different ball game. You're gonna learn a new way of selling. So I'm gonna treat you like you're in grade school until you graduate. Make sense? A little something we'll touch on more down at the very end. Next part here, understand what's going on in a new member's head. There's something that they taught management for a long time, still do. It's about popping fear bubbles. I learned that from Drew Frank for a long time, right? It's all about popping fear bubbles. When they're sitting in their training seminar, just because they're sitting in training does not mean that they're all in. Just because they're at their first team meeting does not mean they're 100% confident. You have to understand that. You have to put yourself in their shoes. One of the best talks I had listened to yesterday was Brandon Brown's on the whys of everything. I'm a super big believer in that, right? I believe the same rules can apply to this too. These are some things that commonly go in people's heads. Think about it as a new rep. They're sitting in training. You're teaching them all this stuff. You got a big old fancy PowerPoint. You got all these reps that are like millions of dollars and all Hall of Famers around, especially on our team. We got like 9 or 10 Hall of Famers or something ridiculous like that. Like, it can be very intimidating. For a rep that's at $20,000 in personal sales, guys, it's probably a very common notion that they're going to, in their head, they're probably thinking, can I even do this? I sold 20 grand in 4 months. These guys are selling 500 in a year. Oh my God, that's an eternity away. Those are things that they're thinking about. Another thing that they're thinking about is having a fear of, this is a lot to memorize. Think about it this way. This entire time that they started this job, they've gone to Mrs. Jones' house, sat at their table, built rapport, right? And they busted open their manual. They read their manual word for word, hopefully. And then they did their demo. And at the end, they got an order and got leads, and they went on to the next thing. They follow the manual, they read their script, they follow their manual, they read their script, and they grind it into their heads because that's typically how most of our reps are successful, especially at the very beginning. When you're at the booth, you can't do that. You can't bust out your manual and just follow it word for word. We all know that. Like, you're gonna be like, hey, this is Cutco, cut the leather, and sometimes it might go in another direction. Sometimes you might be halfway through and it goes this direction. You gotta scoop them back and put them right back where you want them to be, wherever it may be, right? You have to understand that these guys are used to following a manual. Now they have to get off of that, and they have to memorize a whole bunch of stuff. And think about it. I don't know what scripts you guys use and stuff like that, but like for our guys, like again, I try to keep it as thinned out and as simple as possible. Our new customer script, it's 3 pages. It's very simple, like start to finish. I just want to give them something to start with, like a structure. I know they're not going to get that word for word because it's just not going to happen. Like, customers take you all different directions. But I tell people that, and I tell them, like, you need to understand that there's a structure, like a basic outline you got to follow with your demo. Understand why you're saying what you're saying and why you're doing what you're doing at specific moments. And then you're going to close the majority of your customers if you do this the right way, right? Because guess what? It was something so funny. I kind of knew this in the back of my mind, but the reason why I put this specifically on there, we had a kid, he was at like 100K in sales, personal sales, 2 summers. Sold for college, left, came back, sold again. And then he wanted to join the events team, and then the last second he bailed out at events training, and I texted him the morning of because I was really excited about this kid. And I was like, dude, where are you? And he's like, I'm really sorry, man. I couldn't tell you the day before anything at the conference, but I'm too, and I can't memorize that manual. I can't memorize those scripts. I can't do that. I can't go to a booth. It's so overwhelming. And I was like, wow, this is a kid at 100 grand in 2 summers. Super sharp kid, went to a great high school, really sharp. Gonna be a DM and everything, you know, that on all that good stuff, which is cool, but we never got a crack at him to be on our events team. Just by a little simple thing of, he was intimidated by memorizing his approaches, right? Maybe if I would have caught that sooner, I could have massaged that a little bit and he would have been in training. Next thing of feelings of where do I even start? This kind of piggybacks on what I talked about already. They've sold X amount, but they're in a room with people that have sold like 1,000 times more than them. They don't even know where to begin. Do I pick shifts? How do I pick shifts? Do I find shows? How do I find shows? How do I do this? How do I do that? And giving people very strict guidelines and just pushing them through that like they're in grade school. So I'm going to go on that here a little bit more in detail during our team meetings. Our team meetings are like, you're not going to learn a whole bunch of stuff from these. I'm just letting you know ahead of time. It's going to be very underwhelming when I show you our like monthly team meeting layout. But literally we do 4 things, and that's the only thing we do every month. And you know what? It has worked awesome. And you know what? Our team meetings are not super exciting by any means. I mean, we have a good camaraderie and the team's really good. They're not super out of this world, like you're gonna learn something super crazy every month. I literally just like take Thor's hammer and I just like bash all the basics into their skull every single month. And they have great shift averages and we had a lot of retainment, so we're just gonna keep bashing until it goes all the way through. Cool. So, what they need to learn before all else. Again, these are my opinions. But what they need to learn before literally anything, I'm talking flatware, cookware, all that good stuff, because none of that matters until they know how to sell sets to new customers, 5P specials and upgrades to past customers, handling B bags the right way, and then upselling on the orders they get. Because, I mean, you guys might have saw yesterday, like we did over 400 events this last year. We did like 1.5, right? We had some really solid growth this last year, right? By the way, that was with us, which I was really glad to listen to Brian's talk wherever he was at. Because by the way, speaking of rodeos, we actually lost our rodeo this year, like a $180,000 event. It was like our one big event and gone because of reasons that he talked about. And we still grew a bunch because we had to just muscle the volume. Lots of farmers markets, gun shows, market days, stuff like that. And we were able to maximize a lot of them. And you know what? A lot of those are staffed by our new guys. So we put a lot of eggs in their baskets. I want you guys to understand something too. Flatware, cookware, etc. These are all great tools that they're going to add to their skills. They're going to learn it one day. They're going to learn how to be beasts at flatware. Some of your reps are going to be really good at showing cookware and selling it and upselling and all that good stuff. But if they don't have the foundation set, they will not develop long term and they will probably burn out very quickly. Trust me, because it seems like as a CSP, we're like, man, they made it onto the team. They're at 40,000. I'm ready to teach them how to sell flatware. All right, let's teach them how to show cookware. Let's teach them how to do this and do that. Let's business gifts, all that kind of good stuff too. We have guys on our team, like we have some really talented business gift reps on our teams, right? And I have to kind of even like cater them and kind of wall them off a little bit too, being like, what do you want to teach at the meeting? At the mall meeting, they're like, oh, I want to teach business gifts. And I'm like, you need to probably teach upgrades because they are not ready for that yet. Because our team is not good at selling upgrades yet, like our new guys and stuff, so we should probably spend more time on that. But business gifts, that's awesome. Teach it to our key events and our leaders because we need that. But for our new reps, that are Johnny new rep who's at like 40 or 50, yeah, he needs to sell a couple upgrades first probably. Because why? That's probably what he's going to sell more often, especially at the events he's going to. Business owners are pretty much everywhere. We all know that. But in my opinion, they have a much better shot at selling those upgrades and 5P specials more often, consistently, than getting that one big biz. I don't know what happened there. Oh, but that one big business gift lead. Thank you. Last thing at the bottom here, before we flip the page over. Setting proper expectations. This is something near the early parts of training that I share with all of our guys. And I used to do something similar when I ran like training seminars for like new reps as an office. But this is something that I always shared with people. After we did our introductions and all that good stuff, I tell people, and I put it down the best way that I could. And I try to put everything in an analogy for them to understand the best way. Everyone in this room was the top rep in their office. Now everything has changed. Basically what's happened to you is that you've been recruited and plugged into a top 5 D1 college program. Understand that you've sold 20, 50, 100, 150,000 on demos, and that's awesome, that's great, that's why you're here. But understand, everyone in this room, regardless of your sales, are all currently at $0 in boost sales. You're going to be learning a completely new standard and way of selling cut code that you've never done before. Be a student of the business and understand it will take time to develop and hone your skill sets for the booth and long term. Pretty much everything that those super sharp, like overly confident kids need to hear is pretty much squashed right there. I'm sure you guys have had your fair share of like those kids like, I sold 30 grand. I'm awesome. Like, all right, man, like, chill out, like, slow down, turbo. So the idea is that that's great that they're confident, but overconfidence can kill a lot of good reps, a lot of talented reps that could have been something special one day, right? These are the things that sometimes we disconnect and we forget about because we've sold so much personally that we're so far beyond that part of the business that sometimes we need to refresh ourselves to what's going on in their heads and what they need right now. On the back, our monthly team meetings. We do a team meeting every month. I'm sure all you guys do. If you don't, you should consider doing that right away. Monthly team meetings. As you guys know, Texas is a very big area. It takes like 17 hours to go from Amarillo down to the border. right? Like just north to south. By the way, for you guys that don't know, Texans measure things by time, not by miles as well, so understand that. So our team is very spread apart. So if everything was local, everyone would be physically required to be there. But because we have reps at Texas Tech and kids down in McAllen and stuff like that, we have to, everyone that's Central Texas, like Austin, San Antonio, Waco kind of area, like those guys are physical attendants, even if they have school, doesn't matter. Like they go there. We do them in the evenings. They're from 5 to 9 once a month. Like we do them on a Tuesday or Wednesday or something. But everyone else is just a simple Zoom-in process. These are the 4 things we do at every single team meeting, and it doesn't change. Number 1 is drill for skill. That's right. We spend like a minimum 30 minutes plus, minimum, like depending on what's on the agenda, minimum 30 minutes of just simple drill for skill. We'll pick 1 script, maybe 2, depending on which meeting it is for the campaign, and they will literally partner up. They're required to bring their approaches, and they turn their chairs, and the 50K rep role playing with an 80K rep on how to sell sets at the booth. And they just do that. They go, then the other guy goes, and the other guy goes, and the other guy goes, and they do that for at least a half hour. That's like our warm-up for the team meeting. That's it. And you know what? They've done it so much now that that's just normal. That's just what you do. Second thing we do is we find new events. Want to know how we added I think it was like 50 or 60 new events on top of what we were already doing already. We did it was like 412 or 420, something like that as well, somewhere in that range. Like with those, every team meeting we spend an hour finding new events and doing phone time. That's right, like new reps at the team meetings, like at the events team meeting, they're actually doing phone time. You either find your events to add to the schedule or you're booking appointments for yourself. Because again, remember, backtrack, they're at 40K, they're booking service calls, right? Just because they collect service calls don't mean these kids are calling them, right? Second graders, push activity, give them structure, give them direction, right? And so the idea is that they do phone time and they find events because I want them leaving that meeting, drilling their skills, make sure they're better at the approach, that they're going to have a higher probability of selling more at their shows. And also, they got like 2, 3, 4, 5 demos lined up, maybe a handful of service calls, whatever may have you, and then maybe they found an extra show or 2 to add to their personal calendar. That's already more productive than what most of the time they get at their local office at this point. Because at their local office, their weekly team meetings, most of their DMs, when a rep hits like 30K, they're like, I already know what they're doing. For you guys that don't know that, that's how most DMs, not all DMs, but that's how a lot of DMs think. Oh, they're at 30K, they already know how to do the job. No, they don't. They don't. So it's my job to make sure that at least that once a month shot that I have at them, they have appointments lined up, they have new shows in their schedule, and they also improve their skill set a little bit before they go off to their events for that later that month. Third thing is setting goals and expectations. Again, in their shoes, most new reps, they don't set weekly goals all the time. They go hard for push, sell some stuff here and there. They go hard for push again, sell some stuff here and there. Take off for 2 weeks because why not? And then that's just kind of like their structure of their schedule. It's true, right? That's what I did when I was a newer rep. So the idea is that we set goals and expectations. So what I mean by that is this. Johnny new rep, we go through our whole schedule picking because we have a lot of shows. It takes a long time to go through this process. But when they book all their shows and everything like that, at the end of shift picking, have everyone sit down. I'm like, all right, guys, so for the next 4 weeks or from now to our next team meeting, it's like, I want you guys to write down in your schedule. Like, literally, I'm like, hold up your schedule, or if your schedule's in your phone, hold up your phone. Like, second graders, hold it up in the air. Like, all right, cool, I want you to pull out your calendar. I want you to go and put all your shows in there. All right, cool. Once you have them all in there, all right, cool. And I want you to go ahead, and we're going to go through every show real quick, and I want you guys to put a goal expectation for yourself. Right, and by the way, I pre-frame this for them because I want them to have proper expectations, right? I don't want them thinking they're going to sell 10 grand at a market days. Chances are lower ceiling may not happen, right? So I don't have false hopes. The idea is that I tell every new rep in their first campaign, whatever show that you work, no matter what you do, no matter how hot start, slow start, whatever, like your objective should be that you need to get to $1,000 shift average before the end of your first campaign. Doesn't matter what shows you're working. And I tell them too, is like, when you are brand new, especially on a team like ours, you're gonna have a lot of cheap, a lot of smaller type events, gun shows, market days, farmers markets, trade days, whatever it may be. You're gonna be working a lot of these where it's gonna low risk, but a lower ceiling than obviously like a home and garden show, right? Obviously, we want you guys to be better and we want you guys to get to that point someday, but you need to crush these shows and you need to crush it. Because if you go to like a tiny little gun show like in San Antonio or something like that, and you go out and you sell $2,000 in the 2 days consistently, like month in, month out type of deal, you're going to start improving your skill set very quickly, and you're making good money. Because, man, I hate it whenever I see some reps going out there and they don't know their stuff, or they're too nervous, I did something wrong with training with them, I didn't catch something before it fall through the cracks, and they go out and they do like 3 events and they sell like less than $1,000, like that's on me. That's on me, right? And you can't think, like, I know there's some kids that are gonna be butt heads and stuff like that here and there. Just understand 99% of your reps that are in training, by the way, if someone's gonna, I'm just gonna say this up front, like, I'm a big believer, just like Brian was, because we ran training together this last time. He kicked one of his kids out in training, and I should have too. Like in training, because they didn't want to role play. Like, oh, we already did it once. Like, no, start role playing, do it more and more. And when the guy gave him lip, he was like, okay, cool, grab your stuff and you can leave. And the guy was like, what? And this was like a hot shot, like private school kid and everything. And I was like, no, you heard me, go and grab your crap and get out, right? And we had one of those kids too, wasn't as bad as that. And you know what, hindsight, he's not on our team anymore right now, but I probably should have at that time. So if you have kids that are like that, don't feel bad about getting those kids out the door quick, so that way you can put your energy into the kids that are serious about being there. Cool? Kind of like customers, right? Make sure you're giving all your best to all the people that are in front of you, but the second one of them is just not going to be a prospect, it's going to be absolutely closed today. Get your energy into the next quality customer. Team support. Forgot to mention this. Guest speaker, very simple. We take one of the things that we teach, and I just grab 2 of our leaders every month. We have a bunch of them. They know a lot about selling Cutco. And I just have 2 of them pick one of the team meetings in the campaign. They show up to it. They give their talk for 30 minutes to 45 minutes, and then they're out the door afterwards. They come in. They make an impact. You reps get to put a face to a name, right? Something to look forward to as well. And they get to hear a different perspective on what I've already taught them every single month. Like we learned yesterday, right? Sometimes just hearing a different perspective, hearing it a different way, and all of a sudden a light bulb goes off. Those kind of little things behind the scenes, it's all done for a purpose. It's not just done because, oh, I'm just making them go there. I was like, no, I actually want them there because I want them to explain it a little bit differently. The way Joseph can explain something might click with some kids in a different way that Sean does, in a different way that I do. Right? We want to hit all of those kids. Team support. If you're not doing this already, you should. I mean, our team does 1.5. That's a whole bunch of shows and charges to have to deal with. So for me personally, every team does it differently, but I got 3 assistants that I hired. That was like one of the first things I did, because I knew this was going to be a massive project to be able to take over a team that was at this caliber already, is that I have 1 person doing all the schedulings, bookings, calendar, 2nd person do all the charges and stats, 3rd person to handle all the boosts. Why? Because that's that's weekly stuff, monthly stuff that as a coordinator now, I probably shouldn't be spending time on. I should be spending time on getting back into our San Antonio rodeo. I should be worried about getting into our Austin Junior League show. I should be worried about getting into those kind of events for our leaders and stuff, right? I shouldn't be doing chargebacks when I could be making phone calls, right? And then for me, whatever percentage that we agreed on, like I just pay them every campaign when I get paid out of my coordinator pay, right? It's part of my job anyways, so I just take a slice off and I just pay it to them directly. That's it. It's not a lot. It's like $250 a month per person, but they appreciate it and they want to help the team and they make a little money off of it. So I don't have to get all those phone calls either, which is nice. We have a team website, so if you guys ever want to see what a good website looks like, it took us 3 years to make it, but we finally got it up and running this fall. I was very happy about that. By the way, you want to save yourself a lot of headaches with phone calls about administrative stuff and everything, make a professional website that has every question you possibly get, just put it on there. Anytime anyone asks me, I refer them to the website. I don't get those text messages anymore. I don't get those phone calls anymore either. What's the password for this? Website. Damn it. All right. Never hear that question again, though. Standards. Everyone has different standards. Our standard is $4,000 monthly bonus. We have a rule where if you miss bonus back-to-back, then you're on the team, but you're bumped down into like the baby tier, right? That's like the newbie tier, the freshman tier, because we got leaders, we got a varsity group, right, like the up-and-comers. We got the JV group, which is like where all the new people start, and then we have the people that have bonused out, right? Still on the team, can still pick shifts, but they get to pick after everyone that's hit their numbers gets to pick, right? I'm pretty excited to know that most of our people hold that standard this fall, which was pretty cool. Attending team meetings already talked about here, and then I only have 5 minutes left, so it's perfect. The campaign calendar. There's a specific timeline that I put in for a specific reason every single month. We launch all of our trainees during SC2. Go through all the training seminar, pit their field trainings, do all that good stuff. Immediately afterwards, about a week and a half later, we have our first team meeting. I put down 2 things for each of these meetings just so you guys can see what we do, again, to help with retainment and such. Our objective at their first team meeting is to reinforce how their first campaign will go. So everything that I taught them in the 8 hours of sitting there, they probably forgot some stuff. I'm going to re-highlight the important parts how their first campaign is going to go. You're going to work small events. Your job is to master these events. You're going to find new events because you're not going to get a lot of events up front anyways. And then your job is to get to a $1,000 shift average. For you guys that are going to be branch managers, you're going to be a better branch and district manager after this by going through this experience for 8 months. For you guys can be CSPs down the road, well, everyone's got to start somewhere. And you're in a really good team, in a really good place right now. And all we teach them, the new customer script, the Cutco owner script, and service calls. Ask yourself, how often do you actually teach your team how to do a quality service call? They're at 30K, they don't know how to do a quality service call. Thor's hammer, boom, bash their skull in with it. Give them all the information they need and just keep doing it until they understand it. Number 2, and by the way, at this point, these are at the end of the months. September, second team meeting, the objective is to manage their September results, which means manage their emotions. When a kid does really bad in their fast start in their first weekend, managers are taught that you have to manage those emotions because they sold less than they were expecting to, and they're probably leaning towards the quitting side versus the super-go-lucky, happy Cutco side. That can happen to 50K new reps too. So manage their expectations. If they have bad results, talk to them about it. If they have great results, praise them for it, right? And that's awesome, and have them share why they're doing so well because there's going to be a common denominator between all those guys. And guess what? Our skills are just drill for skill. They partner up. They do the new customer script. After that, they partner up, they do the past customer script. And then at that meeting, now that they've gone through 3 or 4 weeks of working their first events, that's when we dive super heavy deep into handling B-backs. And we teach that for an hour. Literally, an hour. And then they role play it. The third team meeting at the end of October afterwards is to build on their experience so far because usually the trend is that I've noticed, in September they kind of go, and then they get some experience, they get humbled a little bit. You handle it the right way, handle those emotions, pick up the excitement again, get some skills for them for B-backs and review some stuff, and now they're actually full, for those kids that aren't fully bought in to making sure they know their stuff before they go to the booth and they just can't wing it and you can't just have a crappy display. They're like, all right, I got my teeth kicked in, I'm ready to kick butt now, teach me. And then usually the uptick happens in October. For you guys that don't track stats like that, that's what happened with us too. September was rough. I was like, well, I can't teach kids how to sell Cutco anymore, apparently. Like, that sucks. This can be really awkward running my first training class as a coordinator. That was one of the main reasons I got picked was because I was known for good trainings. Oh, that's awkward. So, and we build on our malls because obviously, as you guys know, our malls are really big for our team. Drill for skill, they literally just role play the new customer, the Cutco owner, and the B-backs. They do that for about 45 minutes to an hour to warm us up. And then that's when we teach upselling for about a half hour. We teach it for about 15, 20 minutes. They role play for another 15, 20 minutes, give or take. That way they know the basics of it. We build up the malls and plant seeds. And then at the November meeting, this is kind of known as like the big mall, like Lone Star division, like mall we're going to go after it kind of thing. And with that one, the objective is just tie everything together. All of their booths they've worked, all the customers they've interacted with, all the scripts that they've learned, all the experiences they had, positive and negative, and we're going to tie it all together now. And you know what? Like, that meeting is an all-day meeting. It's required if you're going to work malls with us. Their drill for skill is literally they do new customer, Cutco owner, B-backs, and upselling. That takes like an hour and a half to 2 hours, by the way, of role-playing. I kid you not. That's what it is. It's not exciting. It's not super flary or anything like that. It's like, it's very like, but you know what? I don't care. Because if they keep making money and they keep getting paychecks and they keep like growing their personal sales, like that's going to be a really positive influence for the next training class next year when they go run their offices. And since they sell a lot, they keep coming back and they'll keep listening because they keep making money. That's how it works. And then that point, literally their fourth team meeting right before they go into the malls, that's the first time where I tell the leaders, you guys can each sign up for something to teach. One of y'all teach flatware, like actually teach flatware, like how to sell flatware, because they're going to have them at their malls. You need to teach cookware, because most of these reps still don't even know how to sell cookware, right, the right way. And after that, tie it all together with package deals. And we have one of our super high-level reps, usually like a Sean or Josh or someone like that, will teach how to tie it all together with a package deal. as well. Just to give them a little bit of something when they run across that good customer at the mall, they know how to at least introduce it and maybe sell it. But at this point, they have the foundation of all 4 approaches that are most important after all. So that's what I got for you guys. If you guys have any more questions or anything, let me know. And the cool thing is, by the way, we just launched 6 reps on Sunday as well. And 3 of those guys came. Didn't ask them to. Apparently the DM told them to come, so that was cool as well. But we launched 6 new guys, so our team is up to 42 now. So that was cool.